Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and stay tuned by clicking the bell icon. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Hope explodes at Grace, outraged over Liam's tumor scam and fake medication scheme. The bold and the beautiful fans are in for an intense week full of shocking revelations, emotional confrontations, and long overdue justice. Between August 4 and August 8, Grace Buckingham, Cassandra Creech, will finally be backed into a corner, and Hope Logan, Annika Noel, will be right there to unleash her fury when the truth about Grace's outrageous scheme comes to light. Finn uncovers the ugly truth. Everything begins to unravel when Dr. John Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, starts noticing some major inconsistencies in Liam Spencer's, Scott Clifton, recent medical ordeal. What was once believed to be an inoperable brain tumor is looking more and more like a fabrication, and Finn is determined to get to the bottom of it. After doing some digging, reviewing scans, and possibly consulting records from other patients, Finn connects the dots. What he discovers is both appalling and deeply unethical. Liam's diagnosis was completely fake, and the person responsible is none other than Grace. When Finn confronts her, Grace tries to control the damage, begging him to keep it quiet. But Finn, appalled and disgusted, refuses to be part of a cover-up. This wasn't just a harmless mistake. This was a deliberate act of deception, one that inflicted emotional trauma on Liam and those who love him. Grace confesses to the con. Eventually, Grace comes clean and admits everything. She orchestrated the entire ordeal, forging scans and reports to make Liam believe he had a life-threatening brain tumor. Even worse, she manipulated his treatment by prescribing medication that created false symptoms, convincing him that his condition was deteriorating. Why would a doctor do something so cruel? Grace reveals that she was desperate for money, possibly due to lingering debts tied to her brother, Dr. Reese Buckingham, Wayne Brady, who has his own history of scandals. Faced with mounting pressure and financial threats, Grace took the darkest possible route to get her hands on fast cash. The final act in her con involved a completely unnecessary and bogus medical procedure, one that cost Bill Spencer, Don Diamond, a staggering $1 million. That alone is enough to stir outrage, but the emotional cost is what truly hits home. Hope confronts the monster behind the mask. After deciding that this truth can no longer be hidden, Finn brings Grace to the Spencer estate to come clean to Liam. By chance, Hope is already visiting Liam, so she witnesses Grace's confession firsthand, and her reaction is nothing short of explosive. Hope is horrified. The idea that someone, especially a medical professional, could do something so twisted is incomprehensible to her. As Grace explains her reasons, offering excuses and apologies, Hope cuts through every word with blistering rage. She demands to know what kind of person could play God with someone's life, fabricating a terminal illness and causing months of emotional devastation. Hope reminds Grace that her lies didn't just hurt Liam. They crushed his entire family. Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McTinswood, and Hope were preparing to tell their daughters, Beth and Kelly, that their father was dying. They were already envisioning a future where their children would Grace for making Liam believe he was going to leave his daughters behind and for manipulating his physical and emotional state during an already vulnerable time. Liam had recently been shot. His recovery was far from complete, and Grace sent him into an unnecessary surgery, all for a lie. Bill, Steffi, and the fallout ahead. The emotional impact of Grace's scam will continue to ripple across the campus. Once Bill finds out he paid $1 million for a completely fake operation, he'll be livid, and possibly ready to take legal action. Grace could face charges, a lawsuit, or worse, depending on how far Bill is willing to go to make her pay for the deceit. Steffi, too, will no doubt have her own reaction when she hears what Grace has done. She'll be just as outraged as Hope, especially given the emotional roller coaster they've all been on. The fear, the heartbreak, and the stress of preparing to say goodbye to Liam. All of it was completely avoidable. And yet, it was all part of Grace's calculated scheme to solve her financial problems. The trust she once held as a doctor is gone, and she'll find herself isolated as the truth spreads. Grace faces the consequences. Whether Grace ends up in legal trouble, loses her medical license, or is forced to pay restitution, her days of manipulating those around her are clearly numbered. What she did goes beyond unethical. It was criminal and emotionally devastating. Hope will continue to lead the charge in holding Grace accountable. She won't let this slide, and neither will Liam, Finn, or Bill. The damage is done, and now it's time for Grace to face the consequences of her actions. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and share.